Hello chefs, today I'm making a Thai prawn soup. That's my posh dish for the month. So obviously you need some good quality prawns, not the very small ones, not the shrimps, a fairly substantial one, either already cooked or even raw. Then you need sweet corn, peppers, onion, the dill butter which I showed you how to make before, and I use as well some celery to garnish, and a red chili, either a rice wine, or if you can get it, because we can't shop in the special shops, we can have some dry sherry, salt, pepper, a bit of garlic, and a bit of lemon juice instead of the lemongrass, again difficult to get. So I got the pot on and I go straight into it. I got on the side some stock, either chicken or fish or vegetables. So all I need is just to slightly sweat the very fine diced vegetables. So I start as always with the onion first, and I dice it in what we call a cut called brunoise, which is a fairly thick dice. Again, the bits and pieces kept for stock later. So it's not as fine as what I usually do for sauces. This is a soup, but if you had spring onions, even better. But I couldn't go out shopping because of the present COVID, so I have to use what I got around me, which is usually the case with me. With the limitation we have, trying to make the best of it. So in they go, and they start sweating. Increase the heat, and as I go along I cut the rest of the vegetables. It's a fairly quick soup that can be done within the time limit that I have on my recording studio, i.e. my smartphone. So just the size really, more or less, of the grain of sweet pepper that I got there. That's what really determines the shape that will go along the whole of the time. Meanwhile my onions are just sweating, so if it was, say, spring onions, they're quite delicate, they don't really need frying. And the actual ingredients inside the soup are kept fairly crisp for the Thai recipes. They're not cooked to death like some of the continental soups. So I go in with my peppers, and then just sweating. And at this stage I add my dill or coriander butter. I say it's very little butter and plenty of herbs, as we've seen in the past, and let them sweat off. Meanwhile I prepare my prawns. It's pretty large, so I have to cut it down again to size. So all I do is just cut them up into little chunks. So if you had raw prawns, Pacific prawns, they could go in exactly the same as this. The thing is not to overcook them, because they shrink and they go tough. So the whole thing will come together fairly quickly as soon as the prawns are in. The thing is that at the same time the vegetables are partly cooking by the sweating process, and the stock on the side is just on a simmer, ready to go in. That's enough for about 3 or 4 portions at least, me and my fellow neighbor. The preparation now is the chili. I got Scotch bonnet, which is very potent, so if I use it all, it might be quite strong, so I keep some back. and certainly I wouldn't use the seeds, so I just remove them. And by the way, they can be frozen and used like I do, as and when I need to. One word of warning with a chili is your hand. You might be allergic to it. Certainly, once you've done this work, make sure you wash your hands well, and even after washing, there's still the strength there. So don't touch your face, or worse still, when you go to the toilet, you soon know it. So in it goes. And just mix it in. At the same time with the sweet corn. So you need more or less the same amount sweet corn as you have for the rest of the ingredients. You got some of the juice, or if you can still buy the cream sweet corn, is even better. So the yellow color is the same as the rest of the corn. I think I probably need a tiny bit more. And as I haven't got any lemongrass, which would go in with the stock really before I strain it, I put a tiny bit of lemon juice to get the flavor of it. And the whole thing should come up to boil. So you can see all the ingredients there, nice and colorful. Let me put more light on the subject. I hope perhaps you can see a bit better now, as today's a dark day. And so just come to steam, and then I pour in my stock. The amount of stock is really twice the volume of the ingredients. And all I need now is a bit of garlic powder. If I had fresh one, I would put in at this stage. Salt depends on the stock and the prawns. I might be very, very conservative in using salt for this, because we don't use as much as we used to. But what I got to thicken it up, I got some corn flour and I diluted with the rice wine if you had it, or in this case, in my case, the dry sherry, or even a dry martini. Vermouth do well. Make sure it is well diluted and mixed in, and just the residue heat will actually do the thickening up. Don't put it in all at once, because it might be a bit too much. You just want a slight thickening to it. So back to the boil, and very gently pour about half of it in and check. It should be slightly thickened, and that will be revealed as soon as it comes back to the boil. This stage I can do my tasting. Oh yeah, the chili is really coming out. We'll take a tiny bit more salt. Insert in the rest of the corn flour as well. You can thicken as you wish. At this stage, you could also, if you wanted to, finish the dish as a main course by putting some rice noodles with it and serve it that way. In my case, and it's already serving time, I just chop this, or shred the celery. If I had coriander, I would use that instead. But I say beggars can't be choosers. This is just as good, and it goes quite well with the fish. And here I am, service time already. Just give it the last sort of taste. Tiny bit more of the sherry to take up the sweetness, the contrast, the strength of the chili. And there you are. Basically it. And I serve it up. It's like a Oriental minestrone really when you look at it. But of course the prawns make it a bit posh. And that's, as I say, it's enough for about 3-4 people. 3 in a soup tureen and 1 left in a pot. With it, myself, I'll be served some naan bread. Bread is fine, as I said, rice noodle right inside, or even just rice inside will do fine. And a sprinkle of fresh leaf celery or coriander. Or even just the top of the spring onions, cut very, very small sort of rings. So here is my lunch and one for my neighbor, and I hope you make your own and let me know if you like it or not. Watch out for the chili. See you next time. Bye bye.